What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to review the brand new interior sketch that we have for the upcoming C8 Z06, and I even have a short video showing a C8 that has crashed in the snow, so make sure you stay tuned till the end of today's video. But let's jump right into this brand new sketch that has just dropped of what could be the updated interior for the Z06 version of the Corvette C8. First, we do know that this is a Z06 as it's stated right there at the bottom of the steering wheel. I will also get to how we know that this is a valid sketch later in today's video. Now, as you can see, it is just a sketch, but even then it looks so good. The new look of that dash area above the steering wheel immediately caught my eye. Let's jump to a look of a standard C8 interior just so you can look back and forth, and you'll see that it's much less aggressive. It looks nice, but you just have an uninterrupted sweeping of the dash. With the sketch for the Z06, it's now been broken up into a few sections. I do really love that aggressive feel as it's directly aligned with the driver. My assumption is that the area outlined is for your heads-up display, and it'll just give you a more aggressive tone for the driver's area. So what you'll notice is this gives you a much more kind of angled section of the dash that almost looks like something out of a jet fighter, which we know is what they are going for in terms of looks. It also allows for a greater amount of detail and stitching to be seen in that area. The premium feel they're going for out of this interior has just been enhanced by this kind of new design look that they've mocked up. GM really has stepped up their game with the interior. I've spent a good amount of time in the Corvette C8 seat in the interior, and it truly is phenomenal, and I'm not really just saying that. I've sat in some very expensive exotic cars, and personally I do own a fully leather-wrapped interior Audi R8, and at the time that interior was a very nice interior, and while it's outdated tech-wise, it still is held up and is extremely premium. This Corvette feels like that and then some. It may not be on the level of, say, a Ferrari's handmade interior, but it also doesn't cost over $250,000. And from where we've come, the C5, the C6, C7 was a huge upgrade, this even more so. Continuing to move along, we see that the steering wheel still has that squared off look to it. However, there is now a more track focused layout to your 10 and 2 position. The wheel now offers a perfect grip location so that heavy steering can be done without the worry of losing your placement of grip on the wheel. With the Z06 version of this car being primarily focused for track use, you can be rest assured they want every aspect of this car to make you a better driver. Little things like this on the steering wheel will do just that. Also on the steering wheel is a new button layout that's mirrored on both sides. I can't make out exactly what the buttons say, but they'll most likely be similar to what is found on the base C8 Corvette. There does, however, look to be a possible button at the bottom of the steering wheel. It may just be some sort of red insert for looks, but it also could be a start button. Lots of exotics now have the start button on their steering wheels, and I have to say that this would actually be a really cool and original design that I haven't seen before for a start button layout. Let me know what you all think in the comments below on this. Is it or is it not a start button? Moving along from there, you will most likely notice that the sketch looks like a digital dash now has an updated look to the Speedo build-out. This could be just for the sketch and not really mean anything, but I would not be shocked at all if the Z06 did get an updated gauge cluster build-out. In that digital cluster, we can also see a track, hinting at this being a track-based car, and other bits of information off to the left. The infotainment screen looks very similar, however I did notice that you now have a dial on the bottom right hand side of the screen. In the base C8 it's not there, so I'm curious as to why they changed this, or if maybe it's just something they're trying out for the sketches. Of course, probably the biggest addition everyone noticed is the huge amount of carbon fiber that is in the interior for the sketch. The current interior carbon fiber option for the C8 only gives you a few spots of carbon, say around the digital dash, down by the mode selector, and by the door handles, but for the sketch, it's practically found on every surface, especially the console area. Now, this doesn't surprise me at all, as the higher horsepower Corvette is aimed directly at competing with the highest end of exotics. Those cars all have the option of carbon fiber being pasted on almost every surface as well. The sketch even shows carbon fiber being used on the console buttons. This is a biggie and something I would be very interested in. I'm sure a lot of you as well. I've heard from many of the review companies that the buttons can sometimes be difficult to see during high sun as they're covered in that clear plastic. When I sat inside the C8 for the first time, I did spend a good deal of time feeling all of the buttons, feeling how they felt, and I really thought they all felt just fine. They didn't give me that kind of cheap vibe that a lot of people were worried about. However, being inside, I didn't notice any type of glare being a problem. Also, it's reported that they do smudge very easy, and for some people that would be enough to drive them mad. This sketch could show a change to all of that if they decide to use carbon fiber as their buttons, and I'm completely okay with that, and so this sketch shows how incredible that could turn out. They also have this orange line that runs along the carbon fiber buttons. I love that look as well. Obviously, this sketch gives us only a small view of the interior, but from what I'm seeing, this looks to be very promising. Now, many of you may be wondering, how can we even trust this sketch? I mean, anyone could have done it and just thrown it up online. Well, if we take a look at the individual who signed it in the bottom right-hand corner, we'll notice that his name is Tristan Murphy. For those of you maybe not familiar, Tristan Murphy is the Corvette's interior designer. Many of the videos that you've seen that were released from Chevrolet on YouTube show him talking about the new C8's interior.
You think of a car like the mid-engine Corvette and performance cars in general, the expectation for what that car is set so high by the exterior. And as the interior design team...
So yes, while someone could have slapped his name on the image, my guess is this seems to be a good early rendition of the Z06's interior. A fun look at what is to come in the near future. With the C8 rolling out early next year, we can expect an updated Z06 to probably be coming within the next 18 months. This interior look with a new flat plane crank V8 could really make a car that's a contender with the greatest of supercar category. So let me know what your thoughts are on the sketch below. Do you like the design, or are you just not a fan overall of the new interior? Regardless of your position, drop it below. The last thing I wanted to touch on in today's video is we have a short clip of a black Z51 Corvette C8 that is spun out in the Michigan snow. This video was just taken yesterday and shows that even with a good amount of snow on the ground, someone felt that the C8 Corvette would get along just fine. Unfortunately, that didn't appear to be the case, and I would argue that this was probably a bad idea from the start, as this is a Z51 equipped with the summer-only Pilot Sport 4S tires. You can tell from the video that it's a Z51 as it has the Z51 option spoiler on the car, so unless they did already swap out the tires, it's most likely running the 4S tires. Like I said, that's just not a great idea in general. For anyone curious, without the Z51, you will actually get the Pilot Sport All Season 4 tires. That tire isn't made for the snow either, but it would get around much better as an option for cold and bad driving conditions over the 4S tire. Luckily, the accident doesn't look too bad, and most likely the car will be easily fixable if there is any damage. We don't know who was driving this early model C8, but I will keep you up to date on this in the next video if we get any more information. The final fun fact I wanted to add about the Corvette C8, and I've actually seen some people ask some questions in the comments, is about the hidden compartment. And unfortunately, the C8 is not getting that cool little feature that was on the C7 Corvette. And I don't really know why they haven't really brought up in any of the interviews why they decided not to go with that, because I think it was kind of a neat little feature that a lot of people seem to like. And the first time I ever saw it, I thought that was actually a really nice aspect added just as a overall feature for the C7. Unfortunately, it's not rolling over to the C8 Corvette, but we do get a locking center console compartment. That center console is supposed to be a bit deeper. It's still not extremely huge when I kind of played around and looked at it when I was sitting in the C8. It's not like you can still get a ton of stuff in there. I think that compartment in the C7 is probably even larger, but nevertheless, when you actually lock your C8 Corvette, that center console locks. So if someone was to break into your car, obviously your alarm would go off, but they wouldn't have an easy access to your center console, which is where you would keep anything stored. So kind of a neat little feature that they're adding instead of having that little compartment area. Thank you all so much for joining me on today's video. I truly appreciate all of your support. If you enjoyed the video, think about hitting that like button. Again, it's huge support for me. Also, if you're new to the channel, think about subscribing. I'm going to be going through the process of purchasing my C8 over the next couple of months. I already have an allocation for one set up with my local dealer. So I'm going to take you all through that buying process. And then of course, I'm going to be doing tons of content next spring with my brand new Corvette C8. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And for all my subscribers out there, let me know what you want to see with my Corvette. As soon as I get it, I'm going to be doing the break-in process very quickly. I'll be making a video over that because I want to be able to do full testing. And during that break-in period, you can't run the car quite as hard. And so I'm going to be actually probably doing some sort of road trip for as soon as I get the car so that I can get that break-in process done as soon as possible and get to making content for you all, because I know you want to see this car and I should have a very early allocation of one. So very exciting stuff. So make sure you subscribe. Also hit that bell notification so you know when my latest videos drop. Again, thank you all so much. You all take care and we'll see you next video.